Hey guys, welcome. It's Bob again at Taylor's Aquatics, and have a guest today. A couple of guests. Got Brandon and Nessa of oh my God, the name of the channel went right out of my head, and it's not on there. Maple Street Aquatics. Sorry, I forget things all the time, but you guys know that. Maple Street Aquatics. So hey Nessa, hey Brandon, welcome. Glad to have you on here. Real excited to have you on. Um, We've already said hello to everybody in the chat. I see a couple people came in after I said hello in the chat. I see Sean and I see BTW. If I missed anybody, I apologize. There's Pam. Pam's already laughing her butt off at me. Sound is good. Thank you, Maria. I'm having some choppiness already starting out on my side with hearing Brandon, but that usually clears up. So welcome, Brandon. Anything you want to say before we get to the questions? And guys, I'm going to ask him some questions, just broad questions that'll take some time to answer. And anytime you've got a question, hold on to that or highlight it or something, or save it till after we're doing that. I know I kind of like to ask my questions as I go on because I forget them. So we'll get to them eventually, and we're also going to get a tour today. So awesome. Now, Brandon, anything you got to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I appreciate you taking the time and looking out for, having me on the stream, and look forward to hanging out with you. I got some questions for you too, and I just want to kind of take this opportunity to show everybody what we're doing and kind of go through a little bit of the history of where we've been and where we're at. And yeah, appreciate you having me on, Bob.
It's my pleasure to have you guys on, and I've been following your stream lately. We'll get into that lately a little bit later, but I've been following you, and I'm really pleased that you're willing to take the time and come on the stream. So, all right, let's get to it then. I wanted you to talk, if you don't mind, a little bit about the family and how you're all involved in the hobby and how everybody got involved and that kind of thing. Because it's definitely a family hobby with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a family deal over here. I was the first one to get in the hobby, and I'm probably I'm the reason it all started. I'm the main interest. I started keeping fish when I was a kid. My mom kind of got me into that in my early teens. And I had some fish tanks here and there, but usually only a singles or maybe two at a time, if that. And up until, I don't know, it was probably 3 years ago or so, I got on YouTube and started looking some stuff up. We had a single tank at the time with piranhas in it. And I found out what a fish room was. I ran into some fish room tour videos. So that kind of got me excited as to, I didn't realize people had like rooms or houses full of fish tanks. So I kind of fell into that for a while, watching lots of YouTube videos. And that's kind of what inspired me to get started building the fish room. I'd always had the previous experience with fish, just never did it in a multiple tank situation. And once I started bringing tanks in, the family didn't really have a choice. There's tanks upstairs, there's tanks in the bedroom, there's tanks in the kitchen, or not the kitchen, in the living room, in the hallway. They're all over. So everybody runs across the fish tanks, and they all like to help. Vanessa definitely likes to help. She enjoys having fish, watching fish, feeding them. My youngest daughter, she really enjoys doing the maintenance and helping out, doing water changes and stuff. She likes doing the fish work. So yeah, we definitely, it makes it easy when it's a family thing where you can, have everybody involved and it's not a burden on anyone else. Is that dinging? Are you hearing a bunch of dinging coming across? Because somebody's texting somebody on this phone. Okay. Yeah, that's that's kind of how it all got started over here. Got a lot of tanks right now, and Vanessa's, she's good with it. So she enjoys it. Probably not as much as I do. I enjoy the fish a lot. She enjoys the good stuff. She enjoys watching them. She don't really enjoy doing the water changes, but I do all that sort of stuff.
Do you enjoy it?
I don't enjoy it either,
No,
but it has to be done. So. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I've always watching your videos and streams. Really enjoyed the fact that you guys do it as a family, and even had the girls in videos and helping with projects. It's really cool. Did they ever help collect things? And I know you have some native stuff, but
they haven't yet. Vanessa has just talked about wanting to get a set of waders, so she's on board to go collecting.
Awesome.
My youngest daughter also wants a set of waders. I just don't know if they make them that small. I haven't looked into it, but they usually watch. A lot of places we go, there's a bridge or something nearby, so they'll watch from the bridge. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a family thing all the way around, but we got a boat. We spend a lot of time on lakes and rivers and stuff in the summertime, so it's always a good opportunity to get everybody out and enjoy nature. And we like to bring some back and enjoy nature here at the house too. There's all sorts of laws and regulations you got to follow, but you can do it. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Awesome. The sound on this end finally cleared up. It usually does after the guest talks a little bit. So, well, how did you get into the hobby? I mean, did you keep fish as a kid, or?
Yeah, like I said, when I was my first fish tank, I was probably 11 or 12. I don't really remember exactly. My mom had a fish tank initially. She got a fish tank when I was probably 10 or so. And she had some fish in there, and then she bred. I don't know what they were. This would have been early 90s probably. They were yellow cichlids, so she had some of those in there, and they ended up having babies. And I thought, man, this is awesome. You can have a pet fish like this, and something about it just intrigued me. So that kind of got me motivated to want to get fish. And it wasn't about a year later, I think I got my first fish tank, and I tried to do what I could do. My parents wouldn't let me have more than one, so I ended up with like 40 long, I think, at the end before I moved out. But yeah, that's kind of how I got started. Probably helped to my mom, but I also at that same time I did a lot of fishing too. So I kind of always had a fascination with fish, and I enjoy seeing them in the nature. I enjoy seeing them in aquariums, and the whole thing for me kind of gets even better when I can have a really nice tank, plan it up, and try to recreate nature as much as possible and have happy fish.
I saw Ness was sharing out the stream, and others may have too, but I just got a notice that she did. So thank you, Nessa. When you said the early 90s, I'm sitting here thinking I was about to turn 40 then. God, I'm old, Jesus. Oh, let's see what else. What else?
93 was born.
I know that, and those of us that followed you know that you and Nessa kind of stepped back for a while. You haven't been out of the hobby, but you kind of stepped back from YouTube for a bit, not a long time. But can you talk about that a little bit and what that entailed?
Yeah. When I first built the fish room was just prior to me starting my YouTube channel, I believe. And some of my first videos were after I had already kind of had a small fish room, and it was really small. I mean, it was like an 8x10 room. And I got into making videos quite a bit, and I started streaming kind of random, but kind of consistently, pretty frequently. And sometimes I'd stream in the morning before I went to work for like 10 minutes, and the 5 people would show up, and then sometimes I would stream like on a Friday night or something, and I'd get like 15 or 20 some people show up. After I did it for a while, I kind of streamed little things here and there, and then Rick from BAM Aquatics, me and him got together. I don't know if this was taken away from one of your questions, but he got a hold of me and wanted to know if I'd want to stream with him, like do a collab, kind of a every weekly thing. And I asked him, I said, why do you want to, why would you want me to be on the stream with you? I didn't feel like I was like, I'm not super energetic personality and all that stuff. But he said I had a good following, or at least people that were real interactive with my, I only had like a couple hundred subscribers, but I could sometimes have 15 or 20 people in the live stream, which I guess is pretty good. So that's why he wanted to do it. And we did that for a little bit. And then it all just kind of, I think I got into it a little too much, and I put a little bit too much time into it. And it took me a minute to realize it. But when I stepped back and thought about it, it really wasn't the direction that I wanted to really go in as far as a hobbyist, because that's what I am, is just a hobbyist. I've had the fish tanks for a long time, and I'm going to continue to keep them. The YouTube thing, I mean, I just I don't know if I got burnt out of it, but I felt like I was just putting in probably more time than I should have. And I didn't want to take away from the family. So that's kind of maybe why I probably took a break for a while. And I don't even think Vanessa didn't even really have a channel at that point. And then I took a break and kind of did things. And then I kept building the fish room. I started, and I'd put a video out here and there, but I really wasn't consistent with it or frequent at all. And I'd build a tank, or we push the wall out farther and make the fish room bigger. And, I'd that's the part of the hobby. One of the parts of the hobbies that I really enjoy. It's like the building and the whole setup, construction aspect of it. I like that. And once I kept building the fish room and got more and more tanks, more interesting fish, then Vanessa got interested in some of the fish a little bit more. The kids were a little bit older, and they kind of all got interested. And he started a channel. And her channel took off. Like, she skyrocketed to 1,000 subscribers in no time. And we just kind of,
your location there is certainly perfect for your setup and what you're doing in the basement. So temperature wise and everything.
So we enjoy the fish tanks and all this stuff, and when we can get time, we try to put a video out here and there. And I'm going to try to get back to streaming more. I enjoy that. I enjoy conversating with people and talking. And I can't see the chat right now, but I like being really involved in the chat and all that stuff. Apologize to anyone in the chat. But I'm going to try to keep getting. I'm going to try to stay on a Friday on a weekly basis, stream every Friday, and just show off what we got going on here. It's not the most interesting stuff, but it's a little different and unique and not really typical for most people. I'm like definitely on a little bit off of the scale of a normal fish keeper as far as some things go. So, but it's interesting, and it's interesting to me, and I know other people and think it's interesting. So that's why I like to share it.
Dan's Fish saying hello to us there. Hello to Dan.
How many people are here? I can't see.
Well,
Melvin's here.
So was there anything besides just stepping back and taking a break? And what prompted you or triggered you to get back into the hobby? I know a few weeks ago, you've made videos all along. I mean, not as often as you did, but you still did videos. So we knew you were still there and still keeping fish and all that. But did anything prompt you to look at each other and say, okay, let's get back in this again? Because you started live streaming, maybe a month ago or something, and think I've made all of those but one.
Yeah. Well, Vanessa she kind of been pushing me the whole time, and I was kind of just, I don't know, I was just taking my time. We've had a lot going on. I've done a lot of work to the house. You know, we're homeowners, so built a new deck and tore the whole front of the house off, the siding on the one side. We've done quite a bit of work. I got 3 or 4 cars that I maintain, so I've been working on that stuff. We got quite a bit of stuff, along with having kids, that keeps us busy, especially during the summer. And we got a boat, you know, we like going out when we got time and doing stuff like that.
Okay.
As it's cooled off here in the winter, you know, I don't have as much going on. We're inside a little more. I spend more time down here in the fish room. And actually, I probably owe quite a bit of it back to Jay's better room. I got on a stream he was in, and he told me that I was the inspiration for him wanting to do like planted tanks for his betas, and I thought that was cool. So I figured, well, I guess I'll start streaming again and showing off my tanks. I mean, if I can inspire somebody, you know, or give someone some advice or show them what can be done, and it makes it better for them in the hobby, then, you know, that makes me feel good. So, Jay's part of the reason I got started back.
Okay.
Plan on keeping it up.
Well, that's all the things that I wrote down, and kind of the things that you and I talked about while we were trying to get the sound to work better before we started. Except I wanted to go into what you're currently keeping and why, and maybe have a tour. But before you start that, does anybody have any questions now? I know you guys are going to love the tour and have questions when he's going around, because he always does the live streams when he live streams. So any questions right now? We've got too close to the chat. Let's see, 48's here, Merdul, and Dan's Fish. So, yep, if you haven't hit that like button, Scott's is wanting you to do it. 33 watching and 37 likes. That's awesome. Yeah, I was telling Brandon that this is a time that people are getting off work, and a lot of people are trying to listen and drive, so it's hard to interact. And a lot of people tell me that they listened, or the next day on comments they'll tell me that they were listening, or they go back and watch it later. So just my fish. StreamYard make it sound like you're in a yard. Is the sound bad? Just my fish.
Is it bad on my end?
In a room that kind of echoes, and I hear that myself on playbacks, but there's not a lot I can do about it. It's one of those mid-'80s houses that all have a huge fireplace that you don't need, and a vaulted ceiling that you don't need, and it opens to a dining room, which I never use except to keep my reptiles in. So there's a lot of echo in here. So that may be what you're hearing on this end. Tube-like. I don't know. Does Brandon sound the same? Because I always hear them great. Hear them fine.
It's probably me they're talking about. You sound good on my end.
Modul says it sounds good. Yeah, I think people that have followed me for a while, and when I'm in this room, they realize it's the room, it's not and if I go over there and stand, it's even worse, you know, so that's why I kind of get in the middle of this one room. All right. Well, hopefully everybody can hear okay. And hey, Carrie, welcome in. Great to have you. I've been on Carrie's stream, and she's been on mine. We had so much fun, we decided to invite each other back and forth. So great stream. All right. So what kind of fish, what current fish are you keeping, and why are you doing that? And if you want to talk and then tour, we'll just let you have it now. And I'll watch for
Yeah, I
questions.
guess probably should start out and talk about kind of the setup of the fish room, because the whole setup of the fish room is kind of the reason why I keep the fish I keep. So the house, it's like a ranch style house. This is the basement. It's not, there's no furnace in the house. The house is only heated from the first floor with baseboard heaters and a wood stove. So there's no active heat down here as far as, you know, furnace or anything like that. So, and it's all concrete. But it gets kind of chilly in the winter. Like right now, it's 61 degrees down here. In the summertime, it gets up like about 72, 73 degrees, maybe 75, and that's about it. So it kind of fluctuates from about 60 degrees, 55, maybe at the coldest, to about 75. So for me to try to run heaters in any of these tanks, which I've done it, is just, it's terrible. I'd be better off just heating the whole room. But what I figured I would do instead of trying to run heaters or try to do anything else is to try to work with the space how it is. It's really stable. It doesn't fluctuate a lot in the day. If the heat rises a lot, it's real slow to change down here. So everything is real stable. And so, you know, since it's colder, that's why I've chosen the fish that I have to survive and do well down here. You know, and obviously not all fish are going to do well. And I have a lot of native fish from the area here in Indiana that I've collected. And obviously those do well. And then I do research and source out fish from other parts of the world that have a similar climate to the temperature down here. And a lot of that, a lot of the fish I got that are a little bit different are some South American cichlids from Uruguay, all the way down at the south end of South America, where it gets cold, sometimes even freezes. And those are some of the other fish I got. So that's what I do. I mean, it's a low budget fish room. This whole deal is low budget. Nothing I have is fancy. I just bought like the first little nice LED light for an actual aquarium like last week for just a quarantine tank I set up. Everything else is real DIY, cheap shop lights, used tanks mostly. And yeah, that's kind of, everything runs off of a sponge filter. So everything's, I kind of try to keep everything light load. I don't have a real whole lot of heavy filtration, but almost everything is natural. Almost all my stuff in my tanks is natural. A lot of dirted tanks and live plants and almost everything. I've only got like 2 tanks that have plastic plants in them, and those are just temporary that I set up for quarantine tanks to try to make the fish more comfortable. So everything is natural, and a lot of it's collected by me too. So, as far as fish goes, we have natives, sunfish. I have all kinds of minnows, mud minnows. I got rainbow darters, native killifish. I got catfish, bullhead, warmouth, mottled sculpin.
Brandon,
Quite a few.
Big D's asking where you're located again. I guess what state you're in.
Indiana. Yeah, Indiana.
I went ahead and let his comment go, but he wanted to know where you're located.
Yeah, same as Rob 93. Me and Rob 93 actually went collecting. He came up here and we went collecting together. If you want to see that video, go to Rob 93's channel, and he's got a couple videos where he came up here and we did some collecting. Caught some rainbow darters too. Yeah, if you want to see some fish tanks, I'll walk around and show some fish tanks off.
JN in Canada wanting to see those fish.
All right. Let me flip the camera around here and we'll get started. A little bit to show.
It's interesting, GRB. I'm gonna, yeah, here we go.
So this is actually a metal frame tank. It's like a 90-gallon. It's got the stainless steel trim around it, like 70s. And yeah, these are all locally collected fish here, all natives to Indiana. This piece of woodwork here is actually a maple tree root ball. I dug it out of the ground and threw it in the woods. It sat in the woods for like a year or two, and then I sprayed the dirt out of it and decided to put it in this fish tank. And it's kind of a hot mess. It's got a lot of algae on it. It's got even some blue-green algae on it, but it's a pretty interesting piece of wood. It's kind of the whole. That was the main setup for this tank. It's a dirted tank with gravel, just pea gravel, and a lot of the just cheap, basic plants that grow good for me down here: dwarf sage, rotella, rotundifolia, some crypts. Some of the basic stuff. That's a warmouth. What a warmouth right there. That is a bluegill up there, a little bluegill. This is a little pumpkin seed.
I love this tank. Love
Eastern black-nosed dace. Two of those. That's a white sucker. That is a black-sided darter right there.
Wow.
That's a really cool thing. Those are spot fin shiners. Yeah, there's also some central mud minnows in here that are really cool fish. They don't come out very often. There's one right there, hiding right there. He's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just. I mean, it's a big tank. Not a lot of fish in it, and I run it off a sponge filter there in the back. The whole fish room runs off of one pump. Got a Alita linear piston pump. Runs the whole fish room.
What is the temperature in that tank right now? Or do you monitor it constantly? Is there any need?
Well, I bet it's probably like 60. I don't have a heat gun. Vanessa will bring me a heat gun down here, but I'd say it's right about 60 degrees.
Wow.
Which is what most of these tanks are 60 degrees, right around there. Some of the ones on the floor are probably in the 50s, upper 50s.
We always think about fish being more active and using more oxygen and all that. The warmer the temperature is, like to raise it for treatment of things and stuff. But these guys this is their normal temp, so they're just going about their business. It's cool.
Yeah. This is this is the winter season for them too. Everything changes down here. It's a natural cycle, and during the winter it gets down in the 50s, and they slow down a bit. Their metabolism, that's just a given. Their metabolism drops. They're not quite as active. But what I've noticed is in the springtime, when the temperature starts to warm up, that is a very natural trigger for lots of spawning. So that's kind of where I'm hoping to go with it, is the natural rise in temperature in the spring will kind of help kick off some of these fish to spawn. I'd like to spawn some native fish. That'd be really cool. Yeah, this is a 125 here. It's kind of 58.
My temp gun is broken. I've got to get one.
6 degrees. So yeah, it's not even 60 degrees. But this is also a dirty tank. It's got black blasting sand in it. I paid $50 for this tank at an auction, fish auction at Grand Valley Aquarium Club, and brought it home and redid it. It's been great. So just a cheap build. It's got a 4-foot shop light on it and a small LED. And
Jay in Aquarium. I'm sorry. He wants to know what you feed these fish.
I feed majority of the diet's tetracolor tropical granules. Some of the bigger fish, like especially the native fish, I feed this stuff right here. I don't know if you can see it. Jumbo freeze dried krill. If you have any fish that won't eat, they'll eat that. So I feed that to some of the more stubborn fish, but I do have an order of fish food coming from Ken's. And, so yeah, right now, the majority of the diet around here on most of these fish is tetracolored tropical granules. All of these plants were like all these crypts right here. These are all started from one plant and just spread. Same with all this rotella. It was just one little batch. These crypts over here.
Crypts look really good. They're doing great in that lower temperature.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Crypts are really, really super tough. They grow really good. They're a strong plant.
Wow.
Low light too, very low light.
I wish mine looked half that good. What about, are you using any fertilizer in the substrate or the water?
Nope, no fertilizer at all. Like I said, this is a dirted tank. So I put like probably 1.5 inches of dirt, about 4 foot in the center of it, and then about 1.5 inches of gravel on top of it. It's all just I try to get the organic potting soil. I don't get the stuff with like the pellets in it, all the fertilizers. I try to get the organic stuff, kind of real basic, and it does good. Well, this tank's been set up for probably 2 years, but you know, once everything balances out, you get a little bit of brown algae at the beginning, pretty hard, which when you do that with a lot of tanks. But when you set up a tank like that, you put a lot of good nutrients in it. It definitely has its time before it balances out. But once it balances out, and it's really good. I mean, you can see it. It's all right here. I mean, this is just off of 1 4 foot
Living her
LED shop.
dream. How old is that tank?
Yeah, this is probably one of my. This is the tank that I'm probably the proudest of. I mean, I have some cool tanks, but this one's it's well established. It's been set up. It's it's balanced and it works out good. We just keep trimming it back. This rotella will grow all the way up to the top, and it'll fill it all up, and then we'll just hack it back, and then it just keeps doing it. I pull a lot of plants out of here too. I use a lot of these to start plants in other tanks. So it's not good. Here's some pretty unique fish back here. These are gymnogeophagus. Rabidonus, I guess. These are from Uruguay. Atobi is the location point. And they're pretty shy, but there's a pale one over here that lost all his pigment.
See some giant danios just mixing right.
Giant danios, some swordtails. These are leopard danios. There's like 5 or 6 of those gymnogeophagus paradise fish. And there are some plecos in here too. This is probably my favorite piece of wood too. This is like a tree. This is another root setup basically. That's like where the trunk of the tree used to be, and it broke off. And these are the roots. That's a really cool piece of wood.
It's another nice piece of wood.
This thing here looks like there's no fish in it, but there's fish in it. This is a 90-gallon. This one is not a dirted tank, so it's not as good as it could be. And it's got a lot of algae issues, particularly right now. But those are bronze cories. I think there's about 11 or 12 in here. They're kind of just chilling right now. And these fish are hard to see back here, but they're cyclosoma species from Uruguay as well.
Denise is asking if you know what kind of tree that was.
No, I don't. No. It's not particularly hard. And a lot of people have that question as far as when that comes to selecting wood for tanks. A lot of people say you should only pick hardwoods. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I put a lot of softwood in a lot of my tanks, and I think the hardwood holds it together better and doesn't release as much organic material into the water as the softwood does. But there's a lot of good softwood that works out just fine. This is a pretty cool one right here. This tank's a hot mess at the moment. It's got some brown algae kicking, but that's a warmouth right there. He's hungry. He's begging. Maybe I can get a worm for him. Bob, I'll try to feed him a worm if you want. We probably should warn people though, I guess, or I'll leave it up to you if you want me to do it or not. I know some people don't like watching live feedings, but up to you.
This fish is really cool too.
He's hungry.
What about common fish diseases and parasites like fin rot and ick, stuff like that? Do you see any of that or much of that with the cold water fish?
No, not really. I've never really had an issue with ick and a whole lot of fish. Not, I had some goldfish a long time ago that had ick from being down here. But no, I mean, well, I guess I can't say that. I did have, I collected a batch of spot fin shiners and brought them back from a local lake. And it's the same, basically the same fish that I already have multiples of. But the one batch I brought back just didn't do good. And some of those got ick, but I've got plenty of other ones. There was more in that other tank over there. I don't have a whole lot of issues with stuff like that when I bring fish. When I bring fish in from the wild, anything that I collect, I use this Prozzy Pro. I use that to get rid of anything internal.
Right.
This is what I use here is an ICX, and it's kind of a blue. Seems to work all right.
Medicines. What about on some of these medicines? I've used them too, Brandon. It says to raise the temperature. What do you do in that case? Do you go ahead and raise it up?
No, I don't. Bob, I only got like one heater, and it's in the bottom of a cabinet. I don't ever use it, so no, I never mess with the temperature. I never put heaters in. I don't, like I said, I only own one heater. I just let everything kind of be as it is. And that's kind of how I adapted my fish setup really to the fish that I have now. Because obviously not all fish do good in cold water. But there's quite a few that do. Just it's just not as common. So
It's cool.
the rice fish back there. Rice fish do really good here. They like the cold water.
I told you a couple of weeks ago in the stream, I love that guy. I remember the video that you made, and I think it was the 125 down the steps that curve. That's
Yeah.
a really cool video. So.
Yeah, that was a sketchy deal. That's a lot of tank. I don't know if I ever get another big tank. It's gonna have to probably be acrylic.
I love hand collected rock. Love it. I love it.
This is a pretty interesting tank. This is a 55, and I just kind of piled a bunch of big rocks right here. And then I set the wood on top of it, and I filled the wood in with gravel and sand, and then I planted the top with moss.
So you getting frog bit to live with the temperature consistently low like that, lower,
Oh yeah, yeah. This thing grows
and algae, of
grows that
course.
pretty
I
deep.
mean,
Oh yeah, and algae. Yeah, there's
duckweed.
algae everywhere.
Oh, how cool! What's that guy?
As a mottled sculpin.
Can't even see him till you get up close. He's exactly like the rocks.
I throw a worm in there for him too. He likes eating red wigglers.
And on your, oh, you froze. There it goes. Yeah, I know a lot of people are really loving this. Look at that. How cool.
Yeah, these guys are cool. He came from a little creek where they had a lot of water movement, and I was doing my research on them, and a lot of people said they had trouble keeping them because they got too hot, and you needed to have a chiller. But when you have a cold water fish room, you don't really need a
That guy's
chiller.
head, it looks like its head looks like some of the armored lizards almost.
Yeah.
And stuff. Wow. Pretty cool.
Yeah. He's pretty neat.
And it
He'll
kind
eat
of
about
looks like a
anything.
puffer face.
He'll eat
That's a
anything
really
that'll
cool
fit in his
fish.
mouth. I've had quite a few different minnows and shiners with him. He's ate them all. He's pretty aggressive. Got a big appetite. Yeah, it's very goby-like.
Even Sean likes this tank, and you can't get him away from shell dwellers. That fish is so cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting tank.
What about the bigger fish like you just had on there? Any thoughts or plans to kind of have a pair of them and spawn them?
Yeah, well, I actually have. This is a warmouth. I have another one over here that's a lot smaller. But yeah, that was kind of one of my plans was when I grow this one up. That's a warmouth too. When I grow him up, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like one of my goals in keeping native fish is to try to breed them. I'd like to breed some native fish. I don't know whether it's sunfish or whatever. Actually, the rainbow darters are really what I'd like to breed. But yeah, that's my goal. I'm hoping come spring that might happen for me. When the temperature rises down here and kind of triggers it off, hopefully they get going.
Thanks, Maria. Sean's asking now, what was the name of the bottom dweller fish in the tank? I missed the name.
That was a mottled
Was
sculpin.
it the sculpin?
Yeah, mottled sculpin.
Yeah, Verdul says it's the mottled sculpin. Thank you. I told you guys they've got some really cool fish.
These guys have been hiding on me, but these are rainbow darters. There's one really nice male in here.
You see, there's Anthony. He's working or getting off work, and you can always go back and get the replay, Anthony. It's well worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely check out the replay.
And never miss a chance when you think of it to advertise a little. Maple Street Aquatics, Nessa and Brandon are on every week right now. And is it Saturday night, Brandon?
Friday night.
Friday night.
Friday night about 7 o'clock
Okay.
or so.
What time?
About 7 o'clock, somewhere around there. I haven't really picked the time, but I usually go between 6:30 to 7:30.
Right. I know you just pop up and I, watch my notifications. So you get a lot more discussion between them and more detail than we're able to do now. So I would definitely, if you're not subscribed, why would you not be? This is like the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
There's a male rainbow. That's a male rainbow darter there, but just not a real large one. They don't have a whole lot of color on them.
It's another one that matches the substrate quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, they blend in.
Does anybody have any questions?
Those are blue nose shiners there. That's a little white sucker, and these are rainbow darters as well. So both of these tanks right here have 2 colonies of rainbow darters, a smaller, younger colony here, and then a little bit of an older colony here.
Hey, Darlene, you'll have to go back and watch the start of this. Nessa said it's cool down there.
Yeah, it is cold down here. We do have some fish upstairs too, so I guess that's one thing to talk about. Down here, most of the tanks stay like 60 to 70 degrees, depending on the time of the year. And upstairs, I have tanks that they're also not heated. I don't have any heaters in any of my tanks, but they run about 10 degrees warmer. So I got some tanks up there that are like 70 right now. I do have some other kind of other random fish that wouldn't do as well down here upstairs.
You see a question there? You collect or purchase the fish?
Yes, I collect them. Yep, I collect all my natives.
Somebody else had some rainbow darters. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, the rainbow darters. They're you can get them. You can buy them. There's places that sell them. Jonas Fish. I think Jonah's Aquariums. Jonah's Aquarium sells a lot of natives, and he's got rainbow darters.
Okay.
Well, if you want, I'll head upstairs. We can look at the tanks up there. I don't know how many tanks I got. I think it's 25 maybe total.
Sean's all excited now about these native fish. He's asking if you bred the sculpin before. He likes those sculpins, so keep an eye on them.
Yeah. Yeah, those dolphins are cool. All right, give me 1 second. We'll head up there.
Guys, there's Nessa's channel as well. She has a really cool channel. She doesn't live on it, or she hasn't in a while, but she has some really good videos on there. Check it out.
This is a 40 breeder. Why it's not here it is. A couple of red bellies in it, which is probably a lot of people, if piranha enthusiasts, look down on it, saying it's too small of a tank. But these guys get along pretty well, actually. Kind of surprising.
How big are those guys going to get?
Oh, they can get like 12 inches. But
Well,
I don't think they're going to get.
You know, I've got some of the, I've forgotten what the species is now, and when I bought them, they didn't have it on there, so I couldn't look at my little smartphone. But the girl told me that they were a smaller species of pacu, and they stayed about 12 inches a foot in the wild, so they would be in the aquarium. Well, in moving them up to the 180, somebody that knew what they were, you know, directed me to some research on them, and they do get 16 to 24 inches. They are a pacu that does not stay small. So it looks like maybe I'll be moving them again, but those look like the same ones I have, except mine are albino.
Yeah, these are Vanessas.
Are they pacu or piranha?
No, these are piranhas. Yeah, these are piranhas.
They look just like my pacu. Just
Yeah.
like them.
They're real close. Yeah, that's
somebody might say something about them there that's helpful to me, but
and this is just a kind of a 40 breeder community tank with some little bit of an oddball darter. These are black stripe, or not darter, barb. These are black stripe barbs. They're African barbs.
Those are really cool. I like those.
Okay,
a little bit like roseline sharks.
Yeah, they look a lot like them without the red or whatever other colors they have.
Was that a killifish?
That is a killifish, yeah. That's
yeah.
Pantula panchex proliferi, male.
Yeah.
He killed his woman. So he's living in here with these guys. And he's bossy. He's mean. I mean, killifish got a little bit of an attitude. For sure.
Beautiful fish.
And we got a couple of these little panda cories in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dirted tank as well. And then there was some bristlenose in here too. Some super reds back here. And then we got these guys down here. This is 29. These are another fish from Uruguay. These are Australoheros species locale, and these guys are little babies. And when they get bigger, they get like real bright yellow with the black stripes, like black vertical stripes, and they get red eyes.
Yeah, these are
little bitty.
Oh, how cool!
And these are some Gadiids. These are Xenotoca diagrii. Used to be Eisenai. They're Cares fish. They're on the Cares list. Community of these guys down here.
What are the fish with the orange tail?
They're Gadiids. They're Xenotoca diagrii Gadiids. They used to be called Xenotoca eisenai.
I like that.
They're from San Marcos, Mexico.
You've got blue. That must be a male.
Yeah, those are males. They're on the CARES list.
Awesome. Awesome.
We got the pleco in there, pair of plecos. These guys are hiding. You won't be able to see them. There's a couple of Honduran red points in here, and then a couple of hybrid convicts, marble convicts, and then these are marble convicts right here. This is my batch of marbles with some babies. Yeah, run away. She's pretty. She's hiding. There's the male in there.
Oh.
Hey,
Jeffro.
Hey, Jeffro, what's up?
Wow. A lot more going on in that fish room than it looks like at a glance.
Yeah. These are another batch of Gymnogeophagus, little bitty guys. These are Gymnogeophagus terra. They're also from Uruguay. So these are all these fish from Uruguay are candidates to go downstairs. They all can handle the cold water.
I love geos. Love geos. Rack. Got Jethro in here and Rack from Bird Garden. All right, they're telling me that we've got just a couple of minutes.
Yep. Here's really the last tank right here. This would be the red-shouldered Severns that we just got. Little babies.
Oh yeah, you told me you got those guys.
Yep.
Severum is my favorite fish, and then right behind them, just a milli point below them, is Geophagus. So.
Oh yeah.
I love those Severums.
Yeah.
It's a good grow out tank. And guys, they have a hoe upstairs with tanks in it too. It's a cold water tank. So we might need to do a part 2 and do that upstairs and do some follow up and some stuff, questions. Let's plan on that. Kev, it's a cold water fish room. So go back and watch it if you didn't see it. Yep, Severums.
These are just some of my marble convicts that I've grown out here that we bred. And there's also
so many different fish. Thank you very much, Brandon. Now, before we go, what can we do as the fish fam? And you just picked up a bunch of fans and interested fish keepers. So, what can we do to help you and Ness? Or do you need subscribers, or want people to come to your live stream? Or
I mean, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, everybody wants subscribers. I just like if you're interested in fish and you like anything kind of what you've seen here on the stream, stop by. I mean, I don't really do like a big Q&A live stream. I just do kind of like a hangout live stream. But if people have questions, I like to give suggestions. I don't claim to know it all, but I know what works for me, and I can give some advice from time to time with that little bit of information. So yeah, come check us out if you're interested in anything. It's a little bit different, I guess.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. And guys, if you have any other questions that I missed, and I probably did, or that you think of, or those of you that missed that are going back, please leave your comments, and when the stream reposts, leave your comments in the comment down there, the questions. So, all right, guys, we'll go on over to Rob 93 and see what he's got going on. Thank you very much, Brandon. I'm delighted to have got another tour. I always see something new that I didn't see, and we'll get together and talk about maybe doing a follow-up and doing the upstairs tanks.
Yeah, that was my pleasure. I mean, it was a
Okay.
good time hanging out with you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm open anytime, Bob. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you. We appreciate it very much. All right. Do we have a link to Rob? I know we had some, but I didn't leave it up there. I know we had one. It's in the chat. There we go. There we go. I'll see you at Rob's in a minute. Thanks again, Brandon and Nessa. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.